Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dr. Soul Brother here with a show with a remedy to help cure your ills. I want to talk to you, fam, about our black athletes as it relates to the Olympics. You tell me, should we support our black athletes in the Olympics, this coming Olympics? I say yes, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, if you know anything about the history of the Olympics, Um, you had black folk who participated from way back when. It was not an easy road. Those who have seen the documentary Olympic Pride American Prejudice by Deborah Riley Draper, I believe is her name, who is a very good documentarian in Atlanta, Georgia. She's done some other films. I would highly recommend you check her work out. But I'm saying that to say, if you go through that documentary as well as a book with the same title, American Pride, American Prejudice, it goes into the obstacles that black athletes had to go through. Not just Jesse Owens, because a lot of times he gets singled out as it relates to the 36 Olympic Games. There were other athletes, 17 other black athletes who participated, male and female. And of the 18, two of them were female. But here's my point. I don't want to make that this a topic, but here's my point. They went through stuff, and there was this whole thing about should we boycott the Olympics? And Ralph Metcalf Jr., the son of Ralph Metcalf Sr., who was one of those who was track and field, who could really run. I mean, he could book on the track, as we used to say. He'd be booking. Well, here's the thing. Their attitude was, wait a minute. Adolf Hitler, with his racist, fascist self, want to say that we're inferior. Let's go out there and whoop these Germans and show them what we're about. They made a statement. It kind of reminds me to some extent what happened in 1968 when the black athletes were supposed to boycott the Olympics and they couldn't reach a consensus. So they decided, let us all just do our own thing, which was cool. Because here's the thing. Um, you are what anybody from any country, you representing the country uh, where you reside. If you're born and raised in whatever country it is, you represent that country of your birth, and if you become a naturalized citizen of that country, you representing that country. You have some black athletes who run for Canada, but most of them are not Canadian born. Some of them are from the Caribbean. Same thing in the UK. Some of them are UK born, but some of them are from the Caribbean. Linford Christie, originally from Jamaica, he represented the UK, not Jamaica. Ben Johnson, representing Canada, not Jamaica. He represented Canada. Same thing with Donovan Bailey, representing Canada. Those cats are Jamaican. What's his name represented his country? What's the brother's name? He's a sports analyst these days. Otto Bolden. Okay, we saw him run in the 1990s. Real good runner, and he seemed to be a person from the Caribbean who gets along with Black Americans. That's a whole nother conversation. But here's my point. Or even uh, Sonia Richards Ross, who ran on the American team representing America, but she's originally from Jamaica. Why? She's a naturalized citizen. But so here's my thing. Um, it's interesting how you have some people who, when you look back, well, if you look at how they look at the black athletes today representing the U.S., how they're frowned upon, and that's again, that's the so-called conscious community. Man, I'm telling you right now, y'all have been a problem, a real problem. You've been nipping at our heels. You've been demoralizing us. You have fed us a diet of black self-hatred. I'm gonna say that again. You have fed us a diet of black self-hatred. Listen, listen to me. Listen to me clearly. I need y'all to hear me. because this is really serious. Anytime you have a person, well, this ain't my country. I'm not an American. And one could argue and say that they're a victim of trauma. I get that. However, when a person is acting or saying things as the result of trauma, there needs to be immediate intervention. Immediate. Why? Because they're causing harm to themselves and by extension others. You know the saying, hurt people hurt people. Oh, that's real. So let's say you're a person who has a legitimate gripe as it relates to America, which is understandable. But at the same time, you have to watch your mouth. You need to watch your mouth. And I say this because it is clear much of that rhetoric stuff has created problems. But let me get back to what I'm saying. I'm saying this. If you are a black person and you are representing America, you serve as a role model. Just think when Joe Louis fought against Max Schmeling, the German, and I don't even have to go down the whole history regarding Germany and its racism and fascism and all the rest of it, Adolf Hitler and all that. Folks were rooting for Joe Louis. Can you imagine if black folk back then were saying, "Oh no, he don't need to be representing America. That's terrible. This ain't his country." Or okay, so let's say folks wanted that, had that outlook. You want Max Smelling to whoop him? Oh, but wait, check this out. It should be noted that that outlook in terms of looking negatively upon black folk representing America within the context of the Olympics, that came about as the result, again, of the conscious community. Post civil rights movement. Post. And looking back, it seemed to have been like in the 1990s. If anybody can cite in the 1980s when that happened, please let me know. I don't remember that being the issue. It could have, and I wasn't aware of it. That's possible. That's very possible. But here's the thing. Um, they started doing that, and it's mostly as it relates to track and field. But check this. When it comes to track and field, they're running up against the American team, running up against Africans and Caribbeans. You know what's ironic about this whole thing about being upset and throwing shade on uh, the black athletes who run on the track team representing America is that unlike yesteryear when black folks were not doing that, like when Jesse Owens and them ran and Wilma Rudolph and them ran and Tommy Smith and John Carlos and what's the other one? Um, there's one man, got another guy. I can't remember his name right now. He ran in '64. It'll come back to me. Any of those black athletes, they were in the minority when it came to the track and field team. Other words, there were not as many black athletes running track as you do today. When you look at the track team, it's mostly, if not exclusively, black. The irony is today, when it's like that, folks are rooting for the Africans and the Caribbean black folks to whoop them. Why? Because again, I've said this before and I'm going to keep beating this drum because it's real. Black Americans have been convinced that they are inferior to African and Caribbean black folk. Facts. Facts. I challenge anybody. Come on my channel and challenge me here. Then prove me wrong. I got the receipts. Prove me wrong. You can't do it. Don't mess with me. This is real. Real talk. That's what this is. I was noticing, I think it was in fact, it was 3 years ago, back in 2021. And Professor Greg Carr was chopping it up with Karen Hunter. And, this is during the Olympics. He said, I don't do the Olympics, I do Black Olympics because when Jamaica wins, that's a win for me. Okay, pause. Let's unpack that. I don't do Olympics, but I do Black Olympics. Okay, let's look at that alone. On the surface, it would sound like you're for anybody black in the Olympics as long as they're black, no matter where they come from. That ain't what he said. Because what did he say later on? Uh, because when Jamaica wins, that's a win for me. How? How? First of all, Dr. Carr, you're not even from there. You're not from there. No, nor do you, at the very least, have roots there. So how is that a win for you? No, it's a win for you because you see Jamaicans and other Caribbeans by extension, and Africans by further extension, as superior uh, to Black America. Your fellow countrymen who are black like you. You see them as superior. And that right there breeds black self hatred. It does. It does. And if you think I'm exaggerating or lying, I suggest we look at that again. Look at it again. That's real talk. And uh, the thing is this: if you are represent, and the thing what's funny, black folks were representing America when back in, let's say, back in the 1930s and all that stuff. This was when there was a serious apartheid system in the United States, and where um, what was going on? Black folks were being lynched. Black folks were being castrated. Black folks were subjected to some of the worst forms of racial discrimination, violence, etc. And yet, you had black folks who were rooting for the black folks who ran on the team, and were rooting for other black leads, black athletes who were on the world stage. And here's the thing. Okay, you say you got a problem when a black person representing the United States on the world stage. Well, it's funny when Serena and Venus Williams were playing um, tennis on the world stage. You were rooting for them, weren't you? Oh, but check this out. You know why you were rooting for them? Because they weren't going up against an African or Caribbean. Yeah, I said it. And you know it's true. No, it's an issue only if you're going up against a black person who is foreign. Make that make sense, fam. It makes no sense. It don't make no sense at all. That is clearly something that is not well thought out. It is a contradiction. So if you're going to be anti-American, why not go all the way? But you don't. So it's only an issue if they're going up against. I mean, look at it. You got sisters who play in what's that? Uh, gymnastics. Okay, you go. Just imagine if you had, let's say, double dutch, a competition in double dutch in the Olympics, because you know that is uniquely Black American. Okay, even the white girls don't do it. The Latinas don't do it. The Asians don't do it. That is uniquely us in the urban environments. I don't care what part of the country we're talking. So the thing is this: when that happens, you would be rooting, or if that would have happened, you'd be rooting for the American system. But wait a second, they're on the they're on the world stage. So again, it's only an issue if they're going up against a black person from Africa or the Caribbean. And how you look at how you play yourself. Look at how you play yourself. How do you know, for example, that some of these people who are competing on the world stage with us don't have a false sense of superiority towards you? But then again, I guess it wouldn't matter to you because you think very little or low of your ethnicity and your nationality. And that's what I mean when I say black self hatred. It's another layer or another example of black self hatred again, in the name of being quote unquote conscious, in the name of being quote unquote revolutionary. And it's not. It is not. No, we're going to have to do some serious self or personal inventory, because while it is true that some of these black foreigners, be they African or Caribbean, are out of pocket, to be sure, at the same time, some of this stuff that's going on is the result of what? It is the result of self inflicted wounds. This is what I mean when I say there needs to be some self or personal inventory. That is what needs to happen. We can't have this no more, fam. So, no, Shakari Richardson, we need to support that sister. We need to support the others who are running, the Noah Lyles and others. We need to support them much better than we did 3 years ago. We did not support those runners, and it's a shame and it's a disgrace. Hey, those are our fellow countrymen. Those are our black brothers and sisters. We need to support them. All the other groups support theirs. You think when you see um, folks in the stands waving their Jamaican flags and Trinidadian flags and uh, other African flags and all that kind of stuff, you think they do flat blackness when it comes to the track and field? No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they're rooting for their fellow countrymen. As well they should. I have no problem with that. But guess what? We should be rooting for our own as well. Okay? You salute them. They need our support. And I tell you what, Dr. Soul Brother's gonna give them our support. You can believe that. So I'm gonna end here because I wanted to hop on real quick and go into this because this is important. This is very important. No, we need to support our athletes. They need our support. And trust me, if we support them the way we should, you will notice a difference in their performance. Trust and believe, you'll notice a difference, a huge difference. All right? So, anybody have any comments, suggestions? Long as your comments are respectful and not out of pocket, because if they are, I will blast you and I will block you. Make no mistake about that. Give me your thoughts, your comments, any suggestions, um, and anything like that will be appreciated. So, on that note, I'm going to end it here. And until the next time, God bless.